Let me tell you about ProHealthConnect.com. It's transforming healthcare payments, providing retailers a seamless process for over-the-counter and healthy benefit programs. By connecting retailers, health plans, and payment processors, ProHealth Connect creates one powerful, unified network. They empower independent grocers and pharmacies to accept health benefit cards without changing how they do business. With over 10,000 locations nationwide, helping more than 1.3 million people access the care and nutrition they need. Go to ProHealthConnect.com.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Rich Lowry, the editor of the National Review. Have you ever been on that rancid morning show?
I have. It's been a while, but I have. It was years ago. I think it was in Trump's first term.
Well, you hated Trump back then. You were never Trumper back then.
Well, no, it was actually
No,
that's
you
when I
were.
was warming up because he was doing good conservative
He was. Okay.
stuff. But that show used to be really good. I mean, Joe Scarborough was a smart guy and a good political analyst, and he used to have a wide range of views. Pat Buchanan used to be on that show. it was good, but then they ruined it, and now it's just agitprop like the rest of that network.
You know, it's funny you mentioned Pat Buchanan. I got to know him a little bit during the Imus days, but then, you know, he was widely known as a pretty virulent anti-Semite, and a lot of folks got disgusted with him. I know that he was part of that Reform Party, Jesse Ventura. I'm not a political historian like you by any stretch. I was doing sports back then, but I do know that Buchanan went from a guy that ran on that minor ticket for president and was a respected guy, like you said, on all these TV shows, to a guy that basically at the end was known as just some angry old anti-Semite.
Yeah, he didn't hold a candle to our current crew in terms of the anti-Semitism, though. I mean,
Wow.
he said some things that were bad, and he was a World War II revisionist. I think that's what killed him at the end. He was serious presidential campaigns in '92 and '96. Won states, won primaries and caucuses, and then went over, spun out into outer space in the Reform Party, but still a great political analyst. I mean, the guy is brilliant. But then he was canceled from Morning Joe when he wrote a book against going into World War II. Wrong. Yeah, wrong.
I mean, you got to understand that when we were big with the Imus show, and Imus was having his greatest success, and I was a part of that, and we would have Mike Barnacle on that show all the time, and Barnacle, he got very, very close, specifically with Bernie and Lou and me, and for many, many summers, I had friends who needed Boston Red Sox tickets. It would take one text, and you get great seats at Fenway Park. That's how close we were with Mike. And Mike has gone completely insane.
Yeah, the advantage to Barnacle, I haven't followed him as closely as you have, but he was kind of different. He was sort of interesting. He wasn't one of us, but he was not one of them either. And just everyone on that show and on that network has to be monochromatically Trump haters.
Just have to be, right? That's it, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's any. They have Republicans on who are Trump haters, and then they have Democrats on who are even more Trump haters. So.
Yeah, and it's funny. I'm trying to keep up with the polls because, again, it depends on what you watch. So, for example, when I do this morning show, I've got 6 TVs on, right? I've got everything from New York One, the local communist channel, to MS Now, which is another one, to CNN, to Fox News. I've got all these channels on, and everybody's got different polls. I don't know. And it seems to me like when I speak to people that are on Fox News, like Brian Kilmeade, for example, every week on this show, or I text Hannity or Levin, they will tell me that the majority of the country, not overwhelmingly by any stretch, maybe slim, but the majority of the country is with President Trump on this Iran war. And then I'll look to the corner of my my left eye to the television set, and these liberal networks will say that the country is furious. Trump's poll numbers are dropping dramatically. We wish oil prices were dropping like Trump's poll numbers. So what is the real truth, Rich Lowry?
I think people are marginally against it. I think there's a plurality against it. I think it depends a little bit how you ask the question. Harvard-Harris poll, which is more reasonable, asked, are you with Israel or Hamas? It's going to be a very pro-Israel answer on that. And things really polls show that I think it's just political downside. I think Trump's ticked down a little bit in his approval rating, but it's been ticking down for a long time, so it's hard to tell whether it's directly related to.
Yeah, Rich, your phone sucks. I don't know where Rich is calling from, but where are you calling from?
My home. Usually it's okay with you.
Yeah, it's raining outside. I don't know. I know you sound. He's fine. So I guess Trump. Not I guess he spoke to the nation last night, and he said,
yeah, he did.
Yeah, and he said that
TV's on. You probably know that.
Yeah, so it was during my Passover Seder, so it was not easy to watch, but I did. So he says this could be over in a couple of weeks, and now it seems like the Strait of Hormuz is no longer going to be the reason to stay in or stay out. He said last night that naturally it's just going to open up, whatever that means. I don't know. Seems like we moved the goalposts quite a bit with this because he's trying to figure out, let's be honest, okay, let's have an honest conversation. He wants to wipe out Iran's nuclear and missile capabilities, which is fantastic. He's sick of watching Iranians kill Americans, Israelis, people all over the world. That's fantastic. And I think he'd like to get the oil and at the very least make sure that these other countries are not making Iran rich. And that's where people tend to have an issue with this. So there's a lot of different things at play when it comes to this. So I asked, I guess it was Lou this morning, somebody, I forget now. How do we know, Justin, how do we know what the win is? Like when Trump says, we're winning this, the war is over, we're winning it. How do we know that? As long as oil prices are high and gas prices are high. So, yeah, so if the barrels come down in 2 weeks and gas is back to $2.50, then I guess we can call it a win. But how do we constitute an all-out victory today?
Yeah, so all out is the regime falls, right? So that's not happening in a couple of weeks. And when you've told them that you're not going to bomb them, in 2 weeks you're going to stop. Of course they're going to hang on, But
hold on a second. Mm-hmm. Are we trying to change the regime? I think people get confused. They think because we're killing all these people from the original Ayatollah 3 or 4 levels in, that doesn't necessarily mean we're trying to regime change there in Iran. Is that our intention?
I think obviously the Israelis would be delighted. I think Trump would be delighted too. But I think he's falling short of making that explicit goal, although he's talked about it some.
No, you know why he's falling short? I'll tell you why he's falling short, okay? And I find it to be ridiculous, and I love President Trump, but when they talk about the people taking over, they tried. And 40,000 of them were gunned down in the streets, and that's not going to change. So unless we're going to put boots on the ground or literally arm the Iranian people with guns, how in God's name are the people going to take it over when they have no weaponry?
Yeah, totally agree with you. And one thing I wonder about, Sid, if we were this motivated to hit Iran hard, why weren't we a year or two, or the Israelis weren't, let's say, covertly arming an opposition? Because if you get an opposition on the ground with guns, then they can fight the government with the guns, and then we can bomb the government forces, and then maybe you make something happen.
Right.
So I'm with you, but it may be that the government is so debilitated 6 months from now, a year from now, it fractures or falls. I think that'd be great, but it's not happening next couple of weeks. So my standard always for this war, what I was in for is flattening a lot of their stuff, such that it's going to take years for them to recover, and maybe they'll never be able to project power in the Gulf the same way that they have. I think that's a win. The fly in the ointment is the Strait, and I still wonder whether Trump is just trying to freak people out so he gets more help from the Europeans and Japan and the Gulf states because they don't want that thing to stay closed.
Right.
But if we just leave with it closed, that's at least an inconclusive end to the war and maybe even a strategic setback.
Hard to argue. I will argue because I'm so in the bag for Trump. Of course, you can't trust a word I say. At least I admit it. One of the things about Trump was, he was so excited. We hired all these strong and smart and beautiful, if that matters, strong and smart and beautiful women. Well, Kristi Noem is out the door, and now her husband has bigger bras than she's got. And now it turns out we hear this morning that Pam Bondi may very well be out the door soon in favor of a very close personal friend of mine, Lee Zeldin. Well, we knew that President Trump did not like the messaging and the job that Bondi was doing with this whole Epstein mess.
Yeah.
So do you think, because of course it looks like it's going to happen, if the rumors are out there, it's going to happen despite what the White House is saying about Bondi this morning, I think you'd have to agree that her time is short in that position, yes?
These are just two very weak choices, and I hate that they're both women because it makes it seem like you're anti-women. I'm not an RFK Jr. fan either, so it's not just a women thing for me, but I think you pick them because they're telegenic, they go on TV a lot, and they're real loyalists. But these are big, important jobs, and you need more than that. So I would be glad if she left. Fine lady, heart's in the right place on many things, but I don't think she's been good at this job.
Let Century Management Solutions get you to your next medical appointment. They specialize in non-emergency medical transportation, connecting patients to care, safety, reliability, and on time. Their advanced technology platform seamlessly coordinates patients, healthcare providers, insurers, and transportation partners all in one powerful network. With over 200 trusted transportation providers, they deliver scalable solutions backed by real-time tracking and complete transparency. Go to SENTRYMS.com.